Hello and happy Thursday. Welcome to Green and Gorgeous. It is Thursday. We are coming off of a loss in Pittsburgh and we are looking forward to the char yeah, it is the Chargers. I'm losing my mind. Yeah, the
Chargers, yeah.
Chargers. Next Sunday. So Tori, how are you today?
It's been such a blah kind of day. I think it's just because I know we're so close to the weekend and then we're so close to like a long weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, let's just get through work and be done.
Yeah, I absolutely feel that. I get really bad senioritis at work. So, like,
Yeah.
anytime that there's a holiday or a long weekend, like the week before, I am just like, no, don't want to do anything.
Yeah,
So,
I'm just like straight, I'm not feeling it. And I'm just like, and like no one is like everyone at work feels the same way right
oh,
now.
absolutely. Absolutely. Everyone has that. So, what are your thoughts from Sunday?
For this Sunday, the thoughts, or
Uh,
this past Sunday.
this past Sunday?
Okay. Um, I mean, we lost, yeah, but like I would say we were still like showing a little bit of progress. I
Mm-hmm.
think it could have easily been like a blowout, but it ended up being like a pretty winnable game. Like I think honestly, we probably should have ended up winning in the end.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Love like wasn't great, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like he looked a lot more comfortable when he was under pressure. But the
Mm-hmm.
problem I still think is that like our wide receivers are having a lot of difficulty getting open.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And from being there, it was honestly so like, we had an opportunity to win twice. He threw an interception in twice, but it was like a great experience at the game. Everyone there was super friendly, super funny, and they all on their terrible towels have written to fire Cloud, which is their offensive coordinator. And so what's really funny too is that anytime that they got a first down, they would do like, and that's another first down, and like the whole stadium would erupt. And they're like, we don't get those that often. And I'm like, hey, neither do we.
Yeah,
Uh,
right. No, we don't get first downs either.
yeah, and so it's really funny because all like towards like after Love threw the first interception when there's about 2 minutes left, a lot of people started a lot of people started leaving,
Mhm.
and my dad and I were laughing because we were like, if we come back and win this, a lot of those people are going to be really upset. But it was just kind of heartbreaking to go through the emotions, and then just that second interception that just finished the game for us. That
Ugh.
was like,
I
oh,
unfortunately like I had to leave during the like fourth quarter towards the end because I had to do like a photo shoot for a couple people.
mm,
And so I was like trying to listen, but I couldn't really tell. And then like Jared was just like texting me and he's
hmm
like, "Oh, you threw another interception. It wasn't great or whatever." And like I saw the replay and as I was like watching it, I was like, I literally watched and I was like, oh, like
hmm
literally just like wow, that like got my
yeah.
hopes up just a little too much, which is really frustrating, but
Yeah, I just want to know, like, we've got to be at, so we're 3-5. At least four, four out of the 5 games, he's thrown an interception to lose it. Because I know for sure that happened, obviously against Pittsburgh. I want to say it happened against the Falcons. Um, who else have we lost to? The Denver. He threw another interception to end the
Denver,
game
yeah.
there. So it just seems to be a non like a huge issue. It's like we have, and I think again being spoiled from Rodgers, like you give him
Mhm.
30 seconds, and it's almost a guaranteed win. Not last year, the year before, but like in history, we're just used to we get the ball back within less than a minute, we're golden, and to kind of have obviously the struggles of a young offense, a new quarterback in the system. So it's been kind of hard to adjust to, and even my brother texted me afterwards and he was like, I'm sorry, Ems. And I was like, it's okay. Like, I'm like,
Right.
I'm happy, I'm okay, like it's all good. And he was like, Love is the last quarterback that I would trust to lead a comeback win.
No, yeah, like I actually have like no hope in like a 2-minute drill from him. I really don't. I think like when we see it, I'm gonna still be in shock and be like, oh my God, like if
He
it
did.
actually pulls through. Yeah. No, because he
Yeah.
actually had a chance too when he had his first start in Kansas City, years
hmm
ago when Rodgers got
Yep.
COVID. He had his
Yep.
shot to like possibly win the game and threw
I
a
think he
pick.
threw an interception.
He did. He threw a pick. I was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I was there too because
Oh
I
yeah,
remember my
yeah.
dad. my dad was like, if we come back, he's like, we're gonna get out of here real quick. Cause at that point, Haley had texted me and said that she had lost because the fans around her were getting really upset and they were being like bullies. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh no, like if she's just literally existing as a Packer fan there and she's getting bullied, I'm like, what's gonna happen if somehow we come back and win? And but obviously it didn't happen. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's just I think it just comes with time and comfortability, but it's it's hard to watch because but I'm just like, you know what? It's okay. And like you said, we talked about it time after time. I think we did a lot of growing this past week. I felt like there was a lot of more opportunities to like, even though we made the mistakes in them, they
Mhm.
were at least I felt like it looked better than what we've seen previously.
I I it's just, like, frustrating because, like, I feel like us as an organization, we do not do well in free agency, and,
Mhm.
like, we need to. Like, I don't want a number 1 wide receiver, like, pick in the draft.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
tired of just, like, getting, like, all these rookies that we have no idea how they're gonna do. That jump, like, we've talked about it from college to the NFL is huge. The talent
Mhm.
level and, like, who you're, like, going up against and, like, these people that have been playing in the NFL for years, like and I
Mhm.
feel like that's what we're seeing now is we're getting a lot of these, like, rookies or, like, 1, 2 year kinda, like, in the mix, and they're struggling to get open because they can't get around these, like, corners and safeties, like, it's getting
Mhm.
really frustrating from that, and, like, I kept saying even last year with Rodgers and stuff in the offseason, I was like, when Devontae left, I was like,
Yeah.
"I just want to get a wide receiver with a name that I know and is at least,
Mhm.
like, decent."
Yeah.
Because that would just be so much more helpful because I feel like then you could have that guy get double covered and then maybe leave
Leave
Dobbs
someone else
or
open.
leave Watson open or
Read.
Reed. Reed's been doing really well actually,
Oh,
but
yeah. Yeah, no, and I completely agree with you. I think, when Jalen Hurts got AJ Brown, that was a game changer because yeah, you're exactly right. Like he gets double teamed. He's a
mhm.
great receiver. He's known for catching. So I'm right there with you. Like I wish we would be more active instead of just like, well, we'll wait to see what we get from the draft because I mean it's literally bust,
No.
bust, 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 bust. It's
No, like my
bad.
dad and I actually were like talking about it earlier this week, like after, and he was saying like you don't really win in like the draft. You win with like free agent pickups and stuff. Because again, like
Hmm.
you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And like all the teams that have had number 1 draft picks or like top 5 draft picks year after year after year, those teams still suck.
They're still getting
Like
those first
they're
round draft
still
picks.
getting those picks because it's going to take you like 7 years to eventually get the right
Rebuild.
one and
Yeah.
rebuild it all. Yeah. So, um it'll be interesting. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is, right? Like that's just what it comes down to. Is what it is.
I think that's our just quote for the year. Like, it is what it is.
It is what
I
it
know people
is.
are trying to get me riled up trying to get me riled up. And I'm like, uh,
Good
do
luck.
your worst. Do your worst. Like, I know, that we're not great. Like, I understand it.
Yeah.
When they would talk, crap with Rogers, I'd be like, oh, but I'm like, yeah, like, yeah, you're right. Like, we suck. It's okay. We
Right.
will, hopefully eventually be better.
Yeah, but do you have any like people you felt like stood out in a good way, bad way, or studs and duds? Anything you're
um,
thinking?
I wanna say that, is it again, I said his name last weekend, Valentine, Barrington Valentine. It looked like he had a really good game. I also really enjoyed watching Nixon because,
Hmm.
like, he did really good. And then I think I liked Rashawn Gary. I will go to my grave saying that that should have been overturned because it was a backwards pass. That was like literally we were like the Steelers fans were just
Yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh, like, why would he do that? He sucks." I mean, they were, like, dogging on Pickett, and my dad is like, "Yeah," he's like, I think he might have stepped out, but, if not, it's a touchdown or we're getting the ball." And then for them to come back and, like, they took a while to and then be like, after further
Yeah, it took
review
a long time to look it over just to be wrong again.
Yeah, I know. I was like, and I'm like, I'm not even on Twitter. And so it was after the game, whenever I was just like chilling, watching the rest of the games that evening in the hotel, I was like scrolling through and I'm like, because all these people had had the lines on it. And even from our angle, like it was a backwards pass. And even the Steelers fans too around us were like, we got away with that. And I'm like,
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
we
like, they're
did.
keeping their mouth shut because they know
Yeah.
that they just got a good call their way.
And
I think that definitely, like, shifted a lot of, like, momentum too because that would have carried
mhm.
over for us.
Yeah, and I think that they would have maybe only gotten 3 on the first touchdown drive because when they called that pass interference, he was nowhere close, like, nowhere close to that wide receiver, and then obviously they scored a
Mhm.
touchdown. So again, it's just all these variables, it's the penalties, but I will say I felt like we were less penalized last
It
week.
was a
There
little
was
bit better than it has been.
still yeah, there were still a couple off ones, but who would you say that stood out for you?
Like we said, my stud was gonna be Jayden Reed. I thought like I mean, he caught what was thrown to him. I've been liking
Mhm.
him as a player that like we've been seeing him develop into lately. Um, he's don't get me wrong, he's not gonna be a number one wide receiver for our team, even two. Like he's
Yeah,
gonna probably be a wide receiver three, but he's doing well in his position. And for like my dud this week, unfortunately, I'm just gonna say like Watson did not do great this game. Like, of course, like we like him and we've talked to his mom on here and she
mhm.
was great, but this just wasn't his best game. Like
Yeah,
he's capable of better. He missed some passes to him and like I think for me now, I'm just like so desperate to have a wide receiver step up. And I feel
yeah,
like so many people are looking at Watson to be like our number one. And
it's Dobbs.
he needs to fill those shoes a little bit if that's like what
Mhm.
people are thinking. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Like I said, I think he's capable of more. I'm not like
Mhm.
saying he's a piece of crap by any means. I just feel like this wasn't his best game. I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
honestly, I was even thinking the same for like Jones a little bit. Didn't think
yeah,
it was his best game either. Like we know he's capable of so much better than what he
so
gave
much
us.
more.
And
Yeah,
like also that dropping that pass, it killed it because I was like, I don't think he's getting a touchdown on that, but I definitely think he's getting a first down and some. And
yeah.
so would have
It
been helpful.
would have been really helpful. I think my dad was Josiah DeGara. I mean, just
Yeah.
the missed tackle on you got one person you gotta defend, and you let him skate on
And you just
by.
let him ole right on by.
Yeah, let me walk you over, get you a nice glass of fine
Exactly.
wine, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like, it's just like little things like that, and I feel like that's how it always is. It's like, well, if we wouldn't have missed the kick, then we would have had this, or if we wouldn't have done this, and it's a big game of like, what if, but
It's all what ifs. You can always
it's
say,
just those
"What if
little
this, that,
things.
that," until you eventually win. But
Yeah,
anyone can say that. The Steelers could say the same thing. "What if this happened?
what
What if
if,
this happened?"
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and
it's just, it's the little things that I'm like, oh my gosh, like, no, and so it's, and my dad, we were joking because we were like, they when they fly home, my dad was like, "I would have them at Lambeau Field tonight running stairs." Like, and
right?
he's like, "And I hate stairs."
Oh, stairs are terrible. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
absolutely
But
not.
he was like, "Oh, no, 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 no." He's like, "They need to go home and start running stairs." He's like,
Yeah.
"Mm-mm." Ugh.
But, you going to the game, why again did you pick that game?
I have a friend on Facebook that has season tickets to it, and so
Oh, okay.
earlier in the season, like when the tickets dropped, I really wanted to go to the Chiefs game with my brother and my dad. Um, it was my parents' like 35th wedding anniversary this year, and so they wanted to go. My dad wanted to take my mom on a nice trip, and then my brother and his wife were going on their honeymoon, so they're like money's tight, and so that's
Yeah.
why I had made the plans to go to the home opener with all of the Twitter friends because I was like, I'm going, y'all can be lame and be mean to me and not go with me to the game. I'm still
Mhm.
going. And so got the tickets for that, got everything secured for that. And then yeah, a friend of mine on Facebook lives in Pittsburgh, has season tickets and posted that, there was only a handful of games he wanted to go to. The rest of them are up for
Mhm.
sale. And I'm like, I know he playing against the Steelers. I'm like, let me see if it's at home or if it's there. And it was there. I messaged him and I called my dad and I was like, book the flight, book the hotels, like we're going to Pittsburgh. And he was like, okay. And I was like, no, like seriously, like this is
He's like, "We're
too
going."
good. Yeah, it's too good of a deal.
Yeah,
So that's kind of how we ended up over there.
that's
So
cool.
yeah, it was honestly fun. Like I'm trying to check off stadiums. That was my sixth
I was
NFL
gonna say,
stadium
was
to
it
go
like
to.
how would you rank it in the stadiums that, like, you've been to?
So I would say probably obviously Lambeau, AT&T. I would say probably then Pittsburgh, MetLife, Texas Stadium, which is the old Cowboy Stadium, and then
Mhm.
Kansas City is dead last for me just because the way they handle at the end of the game. It
I
was
was I would say, I mean, like, I've been to Airhead several times, like, living in Kansas City, um, and they definitely don't handle, like, things great like that. Like,
mhm,
Jared, even, like, being a Chiefs fan, was telling me, he's like, "Hey, you should bring, like, a sweatshirt or a different shirt maybe, so if you guys do end up winning this game, like, put it on because people are gonna get really, like, feisty." I've heard stories of people getting
yeah,
jumped in the bathrooms there. Um, but, like, if you're a Chiefs fan or you're just, like, going to watch a game that your team's not involved in, it's actually a pretty, like, fun atmosphere because of
yeah.
how crazy and loud it is. It just sucks when you're on the other end.
Well, even when we were trying to exit, there was these Chiefs fans, so this is like when you have to go under the tunnels, and it's literally
Mhm.
this going to this. There was Chiefs fans on both sides, basically blocking Packer fans out. So my brother got through in his Patrick Mahomes jersey, and my dad and I are left stranded in the back, and they wouldn't let us through. And I'm like, I understand, like it's fine, like we lost, but I'm like, my brother's already through, and they just like stone cold, like did not let us through. And I'm like, what is this? I could never imagine any situation that that's okay to just basically
Yeah,
block you out if you're a Chiefs fan going right through if you're a Packer fan. So we waited out there for a little bit until they finally let us through. And I was like, it took us, I think, like an hour and a half to get out of that stadium. And so I
jeez.
think by the end of that, I was like, my head was ringing. It was just, it was, I was very overstimulated. So I agree with you. I think if it was like, if I was a Chiefs fan or if I just went for like funsies, I think it would be great. But
Yeah.
being an opposing team there, even after we lost, was just kind of like, ugh. So,
Well,
but
even after, like, I mean, it wasn't too different for me because, like, I went there once when we won and beat them, and I went
mhm,
there again when we lost to them and stuff, and, like, it's just, like, the same. I mean, the
yeah.
only difference was, like, when they were losing, like, they left a little earlier, so it wasn't as many people, but
Yeah.
no. Well, with, us winning or losing and the Bears winning or whatever this week, the Bears now have the same amount of wins as us. And I've seen some people like online talking about like how everyone's going to finish in our
Mhm.
division. What do you think? Like, how do you see us finishing in comparison to the rest of our little division?
I would say probably third. I can Detroit's gonna take it. Detroit's
I think so
is either
too.
gonna be the second or third seed. Um, and then Minnesota, because they've gotten a lucky streak without having, astigmatism, Kirk Cousins. And we're just I think we will beat the Bears a second time. So even
Mhm.
if we end up with the same record, we at least have the tiebreaker over them.
Yeah, like I definitely think that we'll still finish in front of the Bears, because just in like comparing like who they've beat and
Mhm.
like how bad their losses were, I don't see anything like super great from them. I mean, I think Minnesota got lucky with Dobbs, honestly, because
Oh,
I
absolutely.
was thinking around like after this season, they might have to look on moving on from Kirk Cousins. One,
Mhm.
because like he's just so expensive for them.
Mhm.
I think Justin Jefferson didn't want to stay with Cousins. And
Mm-mm.
if they want to keep Jefferson happy to keep him, which like I would want to keep Justin Jefferson happy,
Yeah,
then they might want to try and find someone else. And like Dobbs has been doing good for them. So like I
mhm.
think they got really lucky to have a transitioning quarterback into like their next
Their
like
future.
era, basically.
Yeah.
I did see today something that said like, oh gosh, what was it? It said something that like Kirk Cousins,
Should be
like
the Packers' next
the
quarterback?
dark horse would be Kirk Cousins going to the Packers. And
No.
I was like,
No.
no,
No. No.
I don't want Kirk Cousins. I don't hate him, but he's just okay. Like
Ugh.
he would
No.
maybe like get us to like a kind of winning season or
Mm-mm.
a 500 season, but like
No.
No,
No,
he's not
gross.
gonna be our answer, and, like, that's what we're gonna need to start looking
No,
for, obviously.
no, I if I went to the home opener, I would boo him. And I don't boo my team, but I
Emily,
would
we
boo
just talked about last week how we hate our fans booing our own team. We just talked about last week. Do you want to curse? Because we already know what happened last week also. You don't want to
No,
jinx
I do not
yourself.
like him. I think, if it were me, I would stick with Love for 1 more year
Oh,
because
definitely. Well,
he
we
knows his
extended him anyways,
system.
like, we have
Yeah,
to.
like yeah, give the wide receivers a little bit more time with him.
Mhm.
If next year we go 1-16, then absolutely we need to find someone. And
Do
maybe
you
at that
see
point I
us
might
in, like, the draft, like, this coming draft, maybe getting a quarterback? Not
I could
necessarily to start, but, like,
right.
just to, like, get a higher seeded quarterback in the draft just in case.
What would we do with Sean Clifford then?
Yeah, that's, like, that was my thought. I did actually, like, I had this conversation, like, earlier with a patient today because it's football
Mhm.
season, all we talk about is that. And so that's why I was, like, curious, like, what you were thinking, because they were saying they think we should try and get a different quarterback, and I was like, "But we also already have a backup," and, like,
Mhm.
I don't know. It'd be I feel like it'd be a waste when, like, that's
Yeah.
not the complete position we need help with. I think we need O linemen,
Uh-huh.
for sure, and, I mean, we need receiving, but again, I don't want just a bunch of rookies. We're
Yeah,
gonna be in the
rookie.
same boat that we're in now, but I would
Yeah.
definitely say, like, we need a little sturdier O-line.
Mhm. And I will say, like, we got to see the past couple of years, a little bit of love here and there, a little bit of love here and
Mhm,
there. The only game that I think that they legitimately could have brought Clifford in would have been against the Chargers because we did have not the Chargers, the Rams, I'm so sorry. Because we did have a significant lead on them. So that's the only time that I would have felt comfortable with him coming in. Unless we have another like blowout game like, we've had in the past with Rodgers, and then in the
mhm.
third, fourth quarter, he goes and sits down, has some tequila on the sidelines and then let Clifford show what he can do. Again, I'm not saying that we need to replace Clifford with Love because I think, keeping with Love, not abandoning it, like let's see how the system works, but obviously if it's going to
Mhm.
be time to move on in a year or two, but
Yeah, I mean, I definitely say we give Love his full season. If
mhm,
we have, like, a giant freaking lead, or let's say, like, our playoff hopes are, like, gone at the end of the season, maybe give him a
yeah,
half or something in the last game. So I definitely see us going with him at least another year again, like, just see what he's got. And again, we already
mhm,
extended him for 1 more year, so we might as well use, like, what we have our money for.
yeah, absolutely,
And I think it would just hurt the system more to, like, try and start over and scrap after a year. It's like, "Oh,
yeah,
here's all these guys that just got used to this new guy, and now
mhm.
to try to do that all over again," I just don't see that going well.
Yeah, and I think they also have to give him a little bit of time because, obviously there was a mutual decision, in all realness, that the team was ready to move on from Rodgers. Rodgers was
Mhm,
ready to move on from the team. And then after one season, the guy that you picked to replace Rodgers isn't doing anything like that would look really, really bad on the front office. Like it would just be like, maybe that's why they need an owner, like, all this different stuff that people
mhm.
always say. So I think also too to like save face, I have a feeling that they might, try to stick with him for another season. Like you said, because they signed him and we put the money into it. So
Yeah, I say it'd be, like, pointless, but, um so this coming, this Sunday, we got the Chargers at noon. I believe that's a home game. Correct me if I'm
yes,
wrong.
it is a home
That's what
game,
I was thinking.
and
But
they are wearing their throwback 50s uniforms.
oh,
It's
the
the
50s, yes.
yeah,
I'll wear
yeah.
my jersey tomorrow. Then I have my 50s AJ Dillon one, and I should wear it tomorrow
Ooh.
because we were talking about at work wearing jerseys. So maybe that's what I'll do. But I love those favorite
Mhm.
alternates.
Oh, absolutely,
I
absolutely.
okay. I'll say it. I don't like or like old throwbacks, like the navy.
Oh, la, la, la.
I
No.
don't like them. I don't like those ones. I don't want the yellow helmet. I don't want the khaki colored pants and
Mm-mm.
the navy and like just the circle number. I'm like,
It
that's nothing about like what our team is like now. It's not even like the same color scheme. So it's like so hard.
I have a really funny story about that. So years ago, I don't remember when it was, had to have either been between 2015 15 to 17. I want to say I could be wrong, but they were in those throwback uniforms. They were in Green Bay, and Dallas was up there. Dallas kicked our butt. So towards the end of the game, I am crying, and I'm a crier anyways. But my
Oh,
mom is like, "It's okay, it's okay," and I was like, "No," I said, "It's just so bad that they beat us wearing that." Like it was like I was more upset the fact that we lost wearing those stupid
I
uniforms
don't like
versus the
that.
fact that we were actually losing. And I'm like, and then the cherry on top was that we lost to Dallas. And I'm like,
Yeah, no, that
you
would
look
kill me.
disgusting.
Right.
Disgusting.
Let me tell you, not looking forward to December 3rd against the
Oh, the Chiefs
Chiefs.
game.
Let me tell you. No.
Are you going to
But
that one?
I don't think we're gonna end up going. Like we were
Mm,
trying with my dad's uncle to see if like they could talk to their friends to get tickets and stuff, but I believe
mhm.
they're going. What it comes down to it is that people want to watch Patrick Mahomes,
Oh, absolutely.
unfortunately. And I'm like, I just want to watch my team in its home stadium personally. But
Yeah. Yeah. And
uh
plus your husband's a Chiefs fan, so it
I know. So like
makes
we've
sense.
gone to like all the Chiefs and Packers games that they've played since like we've been together. So this will be like
Mhm.
the first one where we're not, and it kind of sucks because it's away,
I'd
but
be I'd be
or
curious
it's away from
because
here.
yeah,
I
let
guess
me see
that's
something real
technically
quick
home.
because I remember looking at the tickets before the season started and they were hella expensive,
Oh,
but
they
I
were
know that
super pricey,
there's
but I bet they've gone down now a
let me
little
see if
bit
that's what I'm
just
looking up to
with
see if
how
they've
our
gone
record's gone.
let's see.
I don't know. The Chiefs have been also struggling this season, so like maybe
Um
we'll pull something off.
134, 140, 145. So those are significantly better because I think I
So
have
that's not that
screenshots.
bad. It was like 300, like at the beginning of the
Yeah,
season. It
I
was
think I
really
have screenshots
expensive.
where they yeah, I'd say over 300, 400, and
Yeah,
my brother
easily.
and my dad were just like, "No, no."
Yeah, it's true. Oh, yes, Iowa Joe brings up a good point. The Swifties, though, are going to be going.
I
Will ticket
don't
prices go up? Because didn't she say she's going to go to that game?
I think she's touring.
Oh, yeah, you are a
Let's see.
Swiftie.
Let
So,
me look. Let me look. Okay. Friday, November 7th. Oh no, she's done. So after November 26th, that's her last show. So she could be there.
well, I
She
remember
really
like
could be
seeing
there.
something because like Simone Biles was saying, like, well, I'm going to be there too, like mine or something. And so yeah, I was
Ooh.
pretty sure she's gonna be there. But that like
Ooh.
I was talking today about that and I was like, I know so much more about Taylor Swift than I've tried to know. Like everything I've learned about Taylor Swift has not been like under my like circumstances by any
It's been
means.
against my will.
It's been all against my will, I swear. It has been all just like stuff on Twitter or Facebook or
Mhm.
Instagram or wherever popping up about her, as well as my super fan little sister and super fan like friends.
Yeah, I don't know. She might be there. That's gonna make me really sad if she is there because like maybe if she goes, she'll get some inspiring and then want to hold a concert there because that's one of the only stadiums that the football stadium she didn't host a concert in. But I
Why
also know.
Green Bay is not set up for a Super Bowl or a Taylor Swift concert.
Do you think they're gonna be okay with the draft then?
No,
They're
no.
pacing themselves on getting the infrastructure up.
I
2025.
mean, so when I went this past season to Green Bay, and like Jared and I went to the game last season against the Rams, and we drove around Green Bay, so it took all of like 10 minutes, and then we saw the stadium, we did everything, and like they definitely have way more to do now than when I was a kid going to like go visit my
Oh,
family in Green Bay.
yes,
Because
yes,
when we were visiting, it was only seeing the Packers Hall of Fame or the
that
Lambeau
was it.
Tour. That was all there
Yeah,
was to do. Now they have a lot more restaurants. They have like the little title town area with like things
ice
to do down
rink.
by it. So
Hmm.
they're growing in that aspect. As for like places where people are gonna stay, not a ton. So that's
Mm-mm.
why like there's no way. Like if I was Taylor Swift and I was gonna have a concert in Wisconsin, it would be Milwaukee.
Yeah.
It would not be in Green Bay. Like
Hmm.
it's too small.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. I also know that Green Bay is really strict on concerts. That's why they don't have a lot of them there.
You probably got a noise
Um,
complaint from the neighbors next door. Literally, it's like their house is right there.
It's literally I think that's the craziest thing because I don't
Yeah,
know other stadiums that literally you could throw a rock and hit the
into
stadium
the
from your
stadium, yeah.
backyard.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
Jared said, like, that to this, like, day, like, that's the thing that, like, just shocked him the most is, like, everyone who's
Mhm.
gone has told him it's in the neighborhood, and, like,
Mhm.
he did not realize how in the neighborhood it was. I was like, "No," like, my dad's aunt literally, like, walks there every day from her house. Because,
That's
like, that's just
crazy.
her walking path is to Lambeau
Yeah.
Field. And I was like, "That's all we have." That's why, like, the fans of Green Bay are just so dedicated is because it's like, it's
That's
such a
it.
small town feel, like, you know?
Mhm.
It's like, that's all we have to do out there.
I I think they make the joke where it's like Green Bay, like, city population is like 10,000 people. On Sunday game days, it's 80,000 people.
Yeah,
'Cause
right. I think okay, I'm pretty sure Green Bay has a population of at least 106,000 people, I think.
let's see, Green
My
Bay.
number is 106,000.
Okay, for 2023. Oh my goodness! It is 106.817.
Damn fucking
Go
right. I'm good
Tories!
at memorizing numbers, and I saw that earlier this season. Hell yeah. Oh, I love being right. It's
Uh,
gonna be a good day tomorrow.
go buy a lottery ticket tonight or
Oh, I
something.
am not lucky. I am only good at knowing numbers that I know. Like, I'm the go-to person for, like, birthdays, for, like,
Mhm.
anyone in my work office, for, like, anyone in my family, like, quiz me, and I was like, "I know everyone's birthday." I'm just good at, like, numbers.
Okay. 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 I might
It's
quiz you
it's
on
the
that.
thing going on up in my head. That's why. But, so anyway, okay, back to the Chargers, though, back to the
Mhm.
Chargers.
Mhm. Mhm.
How do you see this going for us? Paint me
Let's
a
see.
picture.
Ugh. Um, what is their record? Let me see. Remember last year when we would look all this
Better
stuff
than
up ahead of
ours.
time?
Sorry, I'm not doing my job as much.
No, I'm saying like it's me. It's me. I'm the problem.
Aw,
Um,
little Swifty in there.
always. I don't know. How do I see the record? This is irritating me. Um,
I don't know. I mean, I don't see us winning by any means.
okay, so they're coming off a bye. They
Mhm.
spanked the Jets. They lost to the Chiefs. They beat the Raiders. They lost to the Titans. They beat the 49ers. They beat the Rams. They lost to the Broncos. So it really could be
It depends
a
on what team shows up kind of deal, but
yeah,
I think
yeah, absolutely.
overall, I mean, what could help us is I don't follow, you know, the Chargers much. Like, I know we suck coming off a bye,
Yeah.
and it showed. So I don't think we're gonna win. I honestly don't think it's gonna be a good game. I think it's gonna be a big learning experience, is the nice way to put it. I told, like, my patients, I was like, "You guys have to root for us, this week, right? Like, you don't want the Chargers to win,
Mhm.
so that's gonna kill them, and that's fine with me."
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I have Justin Herbert as one of my fantasy football quarterbacks. He gets me amazing points, but he is a 6'6" idiot. Because watching him sometimes, I am like, what is he doing? The way that he just like falls down.
He does
It's
make
just
some, like, mistakes. He makes some really, like, bad time of the game mistakes. Like,
yeah.
from what the most that I've watched the Chargers is, like, when they're playing the Chiefs because I'm always watching
Hmm.
that game with Jared and his family, and that's what it ends up like, the game is very close with them usually, but then there's, like, some mistake that, like, Herbert will make. But yes, Eckler, is going to walk all over our
Because we
field.
have no run defense.
No, he is
No
going to
run defense.
step all over us. Our run defense did not do well at all last game.
Mm-mm.
When has the last time our run defense has done well? Tell me. But yeah, no, he is going to just, like, prance around,
What do
which
you
I have him in fantasy, so it's not going to kill me.
That's always the worst because I had Najee Harris in my fantasy team, and as he was doing that, I was like, "I hate this so much." Like, it's just like, I'd rather the Packers win than me win in fantasy because 'cause I'm
Yeah.
like, it's fine. What do you think the score prediction is gonna be?
Um, let's see.
Also, can we take a moment to say that I was really close last week because I said 24-19
No, you
and it
said
was 23-19.
23-19. I thought you said
Oh,
23-19.
no, I think I said it was yeah. What was the final
I
score?
thought it
Because
was
I was
23-19 because I made the Monsters Inc. reference.
oh yeah. And I think I said because it what did it end up being? Oh gosh,
A loss.
let me see. It was okay. It was 23-19. So I think I said because I went back and I watched it and I said 24-19.
Okay.
So I was very close, very close, very close. So
So what's your score prediction? Yours is gonna probably be better than mine.
you haven't said yours yet, though, right?
No, I have not. Because I
Okay,
have to
okay.
I have to do the math of how many touchdowns Eckler's gonna have in my head.
Mm,
You
I'll
got it.
go Packers. I have a feeling it's gonna be a high scoring game. I'm
You
just gonna throw
do?
it out
With
there.
us or them?
With us, I'm gonna throw it out there. I think
You think
Packers.
we're gonna have a high scoring game?
I think we're gonna have our highest scoring game. I think we will score 28 points.
Who do you think's scoring these points, Emily?
I am.
Someone's gotta.
It's all gonna be on defense.
Who's scoring all those points for us, Emily?
Musgraves is gonna do another one of those like cute little things in the wide open and then fall into
And
the end
fall
zone.
over? Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
I can see AJ Dillon rushing for one. Let's see. Maybe we'll get another Reed touchdown and then Dobbs. So Musgrave, Dillon, Dobbs, and Reed. Those are our 28 points. Yeah,
Okay.
math. And I think they will have, I'm going to say like 31, 35, something like that.
Dude, I was thinking 30, like 31 was actually the number I have for them.
Okay. And what about for
Um,
us?
for us, on the other hand,
3.
I am between 13 and 14, depending on field
Okay.
goals and touchdown. Like, I'm like either we're getting 2 touchdowns or we're getting a touchdown and 2 field goals.
Okay. Okay. Well, hopefully we do good.
So I'm gonna go here. I'll go with 31-13. Little dyslexia kind of thing going.
I'm good with that. I am a-okay with that. Oh,
It's
well,
just gonna be rough. But it is what it is.
yeah, no, definitely it is what it is. Well, let's see. I will say one of the cool things, I don't know if anyone saw my Twitter or not, but while we were at the airport, we met a guy that his uncle was a scouting coach for the Packers in the
Oh my
Lombardi
God,
era.
yes. Tell me more about that because
And
that was so cool.
so he carries around a thing like this, and anytime he talks to a reasonable Packer fan, he always gives it to them. So I guess one time he went into their archives and he had asked if he could make copies of stuff, and they said yes. And so he makes copies of it for other people. And so it is Lombardi's handwriting on let me see if I can do it. So this is the Packers logo, and so this is from 1964 training camp, and so it's his handwriting, and so
So cool.
it's so cool because I don't know necessarily how popular it is, but member club, the National Conference, National Football League, 6 World Championships. But the other really cool thing is that he went through and he actually wrote out what the words say. So that way, because
Oh,
it's
okay.
really
So
hard
like
to
if the
read.
handwriting's tough,
Yeah, so it's
because
really
like
hard to
kids
read.
nowadays like don't know how to like do cursive or anything.
Cursive, yeah. So it's just kind of cool, and I think one of the cool things, it was just kind of a neat thing to have because I have a feeling like from what I've ever seen is that like his handwriting and a lot of his notes and stuff like that aren't available to the public, and so it's just kind of
Yeah.
cool to have a copy of that. But yeah, this one it says up here if you can. Oh God, why can I not do this? Okay, 1964 training camp. And so it's all of his notes from training camp, and it kind of goes through. Um,
I don't even know if my grandparents were born in 1964.
your
Oh,
grandparents would
yeah,
have
they
been born.
were. Yeah, they
My
were.
parents.
I think they
So
were
if
born
they
in like 50. I think my grandparents were born like 55, maybe.
Okay. So yeah, so it talks about like welcome all of you once more to St. Norbert Camp 1964 season. Many would consider the 1963 season a very successful one, but you and I both know there is no second place. Um, he talks about ability, pride, you must have pride, and then team strength. So it kind of goes through um and then it basically says like you must be trained thoroughly to win. And in closing, the Packers' greatest glory was not in never failing, but rather will be in rising once more. And then there's actually a schedule that was put out for them. And so it's like make all meals, practice, dress on the field, ankles taped, meeting every night except for Saturday, Sunday, possibly Wednesday, 7:15 on time. If not, there's a fine.
Of
Meeting
course.
curfew 11 p.m. Many interested in the Packers. Everyone knows you. Mouth shut about operations. Speak freely and say nothing. Magnify everything. Molehill out of a mountain. And then talks about certain places are off limit. You're in the public eye, whether or not act accordingly. And then talks about like more of the schedule. Um, Most important task is to instill a spirit of victory. It is so easy to accept defeat. It is an inevitable result of poor material and to anticipate the same. And so it just kind of talks about different stuff. So it's kind of cool to have like what they would have done in the 1964 training camp. So
Yeah,
there's
that's really
other
cool.
other pages I just with being back at work and taking a day off, you just kind of get behind on schedule and stuff. So I haven't been able to like actually look through it, but it was just kind of cool to, and I love this logo. Like
Yeah, that's really cool.
it's just so cute. And so it's just kind of fun to be able to see some of this stuff. So he was super nice, and he was from Arizona, and he does a lot of really cool things. He works in social services. He also drives a limo. He writes screenplays. I mean, he is just a man of like many talents, and so it was really interesting chatting with him. Before our flight boarded, and then he just handed that to us, and we're like, oh, like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I make copies of it, and he's like, anytime that I see like a fan that deserves this, he's like, I'll give it to them. And I was like, oh, I was like, that's so sweet.
You're so
So
deserving.
I know, I know. We met a lot of really nice people though. There was a lot of Packer fans on our flight from Dallas. Everyone there was super nice. The people next to me, they were from Canada, and they had their grandson's hockey game. And so they just were like, well, we'll just come to the game for fun. Like they didn't have a affiliation for either team. And
Nice.
so when stuff would happen, I would just like yell like I usually do. And so towards the middle of the first quarter, she was like, oh, you seem to know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, I try to. And so anytime something would happen, she would ask me to explain it. And so then like I was like, oh yeah, like we're backing up because of this or the clock, or when they start going like that, it means to like reset all the different stuff. And so at the very end of the game, she was like, thank you so much for taking the time to explain it to me. And I was like, oh, because it was her first NFL game that she's ever been to.
I
So
don't mind like explaining the game to like people. Like I remember in high school, like I went to every single high school football game we had on Fridays. Um, and like people would like ask me around too. Like my friend group would ask me, like, I don't know what's going on. And like I
mhm,
knew the games, like I would explain things to them. And like I've done it at work. I don't really hate it. Like if someone
mhm,
asks, I'm not gonna make them feel like an idiot
right.
and stuff. So I think it's good to do that and like like let them know. Like if they want to learn more about the game, good for them.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
like
no, and that's
I didn't know a lot at one point, probably when I was a kid.
mhm.
And my
Yeah,
dad
no.
just quizzed me on it without me even asking.
I don't mind, like you said, like I love explaining it to people because it is something I'm passionate about. I think one of the funny things is that there was a father son behind us, and the father was all in Steeler stuff, and the kid had on a Rogers jersey and like a little baby cheesehead, and he had to have been between like 5, 6, something like that. And so we would fist bump him, towards the end of it. We were like, hey, like it's okay, we'll get him next time, just trying to be really encouraging. But I turned around at one point, like I think during halftime, and I was like, how did this happen? Like, I'm like, how, like, I know my dad's a Packer fan and my brother's a Cowboys fan, but I'm like, this is really young to like make a definitive answer. And he was saying that he is just absolutely obsessed with Aaron Rodgers. And I was like, oh, okay, like that's cool. Like that's a lot of fun. And he was like, I've tried telling him that Rodgers isn't on the team anymore and he doesn't believe me. And I was like, my heart broke so
Hate to tell you,
fast.
buddy.
I was he's like, yeah, he doesn't
I'm like, you
believe me
thinking
that
Rogers are making these throws?
yeah, he's just like, he just doesn't believe me that Rogers isn't on the team anymore. And he's like, he loves him so much. And I was like, oh, that's gonna be a really heartbreaking thing in a couple of years when he realizes that like he's not on the team anymore.
That he's
And
like in a couple of years when he's like, I'm retiring.
yeah, yeah. But it was really funny how he was just like he
He won't
just
accept it.
yeah, yeah, but he was really sweet and he was just adorable, and so it was just a lot of fun to like, kind of fist bump him and then just be like, "Hey, it happens." Because I think when you're at that age, it can really make or break you. Because I remember being younger and just having people like bully me
Mhm.
after games and just kind of the trauma that it caused me to then like get sick after games and all this different stuff. And I'm like, if I can prevent one person from having to go through like the football trauma that I did for many years, it is absolutely 100% worth it. So I was like, we'll get him next time. It's okay. Keep your chin up. And so it was pretty cool. So, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like that poor little kid.
Right. Well, I'm glad you had a good experience at the game despite us losing. I'm
Yeah.
glad we still felt like it was kind of a progressive game. And I
Hmm.
hope that you are more right than I am for our game on Sunday. But with that, I guess that's where our show will come to an end. And hopefully we have some. Well, I guess next week we won't be here,
Yeah, because
obviously,
of
Thanksgiving. So
Thanksgiving.
happy Turkey Day for all of those who celebrate.
Hmm.
Um, so we won't be here. So it'll be a couple weeks. So hopefully we have something better to talk about by then.
That's the goal. Have a good night, everybody.
Yes, everyone, have a good night.